Okay, sorry, doing two things at once here. Um, so I just wanted to tell you all um that I finally made it to where my books have the correct cover and they're really nice and everything. Um, please go on Amazon and check out my books. I got up later than usual today, so I'm probably going to be streaming later than usual. I usually try to go for 11 o'clock. But the problem with that is today that I haven't had breakfast yet. So, um, I don't know how long we're gonna stream, but we're at least going to stream until 11, which would only make it a 2-hour stream technically. Um, I did uh, two episodes of Wheel of Fortune and two episodes of Jeopardy. Uh, because we are not going to be here next weekend. Um, we're going down to my son's graduation on Friday, and we are coming back on Saturday. It wasn't ideal. We wanted to stay over 2 nights, give the truck a break and all that, but it didn't work out that way. Um, couldn't really afford it anyway, but that's not the point here. Um, anyway, I am like uh 12, 11, something like that pages away from being done with this book. The problem is I'm antsy about going to the graduation. It's like, we haven't packed yet. Um we haven't made sure that our uh I don't want to say pet sitter because he's not coming over. I mean, he's coming over to check on them, um but anyway, my father-in-law is supposed to be coming over to check on our cats. I'm really okay, so I'm really worried that um Coral just went in January, and then um we got Bobby at the end of March because my sister's supposed to be either moving to Florida or at least they want to go and travel. I don't see how they're supposed to do that with no money, but that's their plan. Anyway, not the point here. So that's why we got Bobby. Um, Emotionally, I was not ready to have another cat, but anyway, they argue, and sometimes arguments have claws and teeth, and you know, I'm not going to be here to stop it. So I'm nervous about that, and um, there's just a whole lot of there's a whole lot of stuff that could be an issue. Um, there's just a whole bunch of stuff that could be an issue. Like we still haven't bought anything that we can eat on Friday so we can have breakfast. And then he's talking like we're not going to be able to afford to eat out while we're there. I mean, one of the meals we're relying on a free pizza from Domino's because we got enough points. And I okay, so I um I bought 2 of my books with free money um, from a survey I'm a part of, and I finally got paid on May 29th from making a book sale. Um, I I bought I want to say I bought Hard Times um, and Adopted Coral. I really wanted to know what it looked like, and I've got to go in there and make sure all the settings are, color, picture, and all that. Um, but even if you buy it now, it looks like a pretty good book. I still haven't made that video. I keep saying I'm going to make a video of me reading that book because it's my book. I can read it on my stream and not get hit with copyright, plagiarism, whatever. It's my book. And if they try, I'm going to say, excuse me, look who it is. But, that'd be kind of funny. Them encouraging, uh, like them encouraging author Tina Rash to, sue gamertag pirate author, for reading the whole entire book on a video or a stream, and then it's like, excuse me, it's the same person. How am I supposed to sit in two seats at once? Or like I would be like, okay, so for the uh like in the People's Court, you've got two podium thingies. I don't know exactly what you call them, but you got like two podium thingies, and the plaintiff is standing at one, and the defendant is standing at the other. And or like if it's a different kind, you're sitting at a desk kind of thing. A small table, whatever. Anyway, so then if it was like the two desk thing, I'd be sitting in the middle of the aisle, right next to, right in front of the judge on two different chairs, and having to explain because I am the plaintiff and I am the defendant. And I didn't set this up. And I don't know why we're spending taxpayers' dollars because, I couldn't afford a lawyer if I wanted to right now. Weird things I think of when I'm at home by myself, and uh, even though I want to finish it, I'm also mentally trying to give myself excuses why not to do it. And my goal is to get it done before we go on the trip because like I'm gonna be uh, I know me, I'm gonna be like sitting there going, I want to get home to finish that, and not have as much fun. So if I finish it before, then I don't have to worry about it. Um, Anyway, oh, and I finally decided that, I don't have any Irish female voices. I just have an Irish male voice in my program, Speechlo, which I highly recommend. I am not getting paid to say this at all whatsoever, but I highly recommend it because it's a really good program. Only problem is that if you're like using certain voices, like say German or 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 uh or I don't think I had, okay, so I don't think I had a problem with the East Indian, people from India. I don't think I had a problem with that one, but I was using, uh, might have been Polish. That doesn't sound right. It might have been Polish and Finnish or something. Yeah, um, yeah, I think it's Finnish. Finnnish or something like that. Anyway, I was using one of, uh, you know, some voice in that area of the world, and I had to teach it English. It wasn't coming out sounding right. And one of the voices could not say Gabrielle to save its life. It kept saying Gabriel. Gabriel is the boy version. Gabrielle, like on Xena, her uh, um, companion that ended up being the person she kissed. But anyway, we're gonna ignore that. Um, anyway, you know, that is the girl version. So I had to go and like put Gabbrile or something like that. And I wish I would have written it down. I really do. Because I was like under the impression that, I wasn't going to have to retype this. But if I go back and fix it to where all of the voices have the correct voice and everything, and I'm going to do that eventually, then I'm going to need to know that information. Like when I have the voices when I have the voices read Britannia, it's got to be a specific way, otherwise it does not say it right. It's like, uh oh, I've got it right here on my screen. Yeah, that one. Okay. So where did Britannia go? Okay. So to get the voice to say it right, BRIT-TAN-KNEEUH. And then I have to, I ended up spelling, I, I think I made up the name Britannia. It's like when people make interesting names like Shaniqua. It's an interesting sounding name, but then when you go and try to get AI to say it, you might have problems. So then you would have to go and teach it how to say the name. And I'm pretty good at that actually. Um okay, so one of my characters is Chantel. But even if I spell it the correct way with a C, it's Chantel. Even when I spell it that way, it says Chauntel instead of Chantel. And then if I want it to actually say Chantel, because okay, so um, two of the people that I used to go to church with before we moved, um, that okay, so there's Cheryl and Greg, and their kids are twin girls, Brittany and Chantel, and I think their younger sister was Kayla. Anyway, I just wanted to give them a shout out because I'm talking about where I got the name Chantel from. So if they hadn't had a daughter named Chantel, then I would have been like, um, I wouldn't have thought the name was cool. And I mean, it wasn't because they had, but it's big, because I happened to go to church and hear the name Chantel, and I was like, you know what? I really like that name. Um, Also, okay, so I didn't want it to sound exactly the same because, they would know exactly where I got that last name. But there was a family with the last name of Hardgrave. And I was like, I like that last name. And for a little bit there, at least, I had a crush on their son. Um, like I was always kind of hoping that we'd get together, but nothing ever happened. And I think he was too young anyway. Um, but he did find his true love eventually. I don't remember her name, but he found her. Um, but anyway, I hope they're still together too. I mean, I always hope that anybody who loved their significant other enough to get married stays together. It's just, that's me. So, oh yeah, and that's the other thing. I want to take my tablet with me just in case I get a story idea. But it loses battery really, really quick. It's an older model. I want to get the newer model, but I don't have the job yet. Um, I'm trying to get. I just want a part-time job. Actually, I just want a part-time job. Um, if I had to get, like say a part-time job at Dollar Store and then a part-time job at Walmart, I really don't want to work at Walmart, but I know I can do it. So, if I could do that, then it would be a doable thing. Oh, I just realized if anybody's trying to talk to me, they can't. Now they can. Okay. I just had I had Twitch up on my computer and everything. I just had it on the wrong screen. It's on the right screen now. Um, anyway, I'm like excited to go to the next part of the story. And hopefully we can get it, we can pretty much get it as a one and done. And then I'll have a seventh book on Amazon. But okay, but what I was saying about getting a job is that I want to be able to save up. I I put my $7.31 that I got from my book sale. I put that into savings. I've got a new account and hopefully hopefully we'll be able to add to it and keep adding to it. It's supposed to be one of those savings accounts that gains interest, and you know, so hopefully that $7.31 will be like, um, like say $7.50 or something like that by the end of June, and then $7 and or $8 or something like that by the end of July, it would be nice. But I do plan on buying two of my books. I've got like $50 in my Amazon account, and I plan on buying two of my books. Hopefully, it'll be a good thing because I'm buying with digital money. So, like, literally, I'm sitting here letting them watch what I do on my phone, which isn't much lately, but, but, you know, letting them watch what I do on my phone, and then I'm getting uh, paid for the research. So, it's really cool. Um, anyway, it's really cool, and I'm getting to buy my books, and then I told my husband that uh, that we can go and buy groceries with the payment after I buy my books. Because as much as I want to buy the Bible on CD, yeah, I want to buy the Holy Bible on CD. I think it's probably going to be the one where it's read by Alexander Skirby the whole time, but at least I'll have it. I wanted the one where it was James Earl Jones reading the New Test the New Testament? Yeah, I think the New Testament. And Alexander Skirby reading the Old Testament. But I can't find that. I was looking on Amazon. It should be uh on Walmart.com, but I haven't seen it. So I don't really want to go on Walmart.com anyway because I went and did something uh, at one point and my computer got messed up and we had to spend over $100 to get it fixed just by going on the website. So it was like around Christmas time 2 years ago. I was just trying to go on there so I could get my husband a Christmas gift, I think, and that's what ended up happening. It was like Merry Christmas or Happy Birthday, whatever it was. You have to help me get my computer over to the computer fix it place. And we ended up getting a downgrade because they didn't have the license for Windows 11. They only had the license for Windows 10. Which was actually okay, but oh, okay. So as usual, I have a YouTube video playing in the background, and I was wondering where the heck they were and why it was kind of going in and out. And then I realized they're on the teacups. I get seasick. So if you miss me next weekend, because I'm at least not going to be. Oh, okay. I'm at least not going to be streaming on Friday or Saturday because we're not waiting until like noon. The graduation's at 7:30. I think they said 7:30. I'm not sure. We'll just shoot for 7 because, like if we get there half an hour early, then that's okay. But if we get there like say at 8 o'clock and miss it, then that would be bad. Um, yeah, so I believe in getting places early. Even work. You really don't want to go to work early, especially if you don't like your job. and you kind of want to assert your, assert, assert, like you want to go and prove to your boss that he doesn't own you. You can come go as you please, kind of thing. I got to that point because, like, the W store does not want people to leave. They don't want to pay you for overtime. They want to yell at you for uh for getting overtime, but they don't want you to leave because they need the workers. Well, it's because they didn't hire enough people. And I say 8 hours at that place is, like, 8 hours at that place is just nuts. Because you got people yelling at you all day long. You got this person over here telling you, check the candy dates. And then you got this other person over here saying, don't do that. Put more candy out. And it's like, well, you got to check the dates so people don't get poisoned with bad food. But, but, you know, that wasn't a thing to do until after I left. You were supposed to be doing it the whole time, but okay, let's change the subject because I will get hostile on that one and probably start saying words that I don't want to say. But anyway, okay, so in the island, Ashley and Sean are kind of realizing they like each other like that, and they want to get together and be boyfriend girlfriend. Well, Hayden has this thing. Hayden's Ashley's dad. Um, Father, you know, but we just call him a dad because I don't like the title father. That sounds like, okay, father. Yeah, just sounds bad for some reason. Like I've always called my dad or daddy, when I was younger. Um, Hold on, I'm having a little bitty issue here. So my hair gets between my ear and my headphone, and which is what I'm talking to you all on, my headset. Um, but the the part that goes on your ear. Anyway, it gets between there and starts tickling, and yeah. Anyway, the problem is that Hayden has this thing about pirates dating his daughters. And of course, since they're all pirates, Sean and Jesse are pirates. He thinks that, whatever pirate they would marry, if they did, is gonna mouth off to the bad guys and who mouths off to people? Oh, okay. So like if you've ever seen Fast and the Furious, which Fast and the Furious movie was it? Because right now I want to say number 2, but I don't think it was. I think it's okay. I think it's the one where they're dragging the giant safe with the 2 cars. Um, 7 question mark? I just watched those. I ought to know the answer to this question. I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting loud, but I've noticed that, a lot of the good YouTubers get loud when they're excited about stuff, and people don't seem to mind. I don't know, maybe I'm just being sensitive. Because, 95% of the time I'm at home with my 3 cats, and they usually have kitty nap time while I'm doing this. They've kind of decided that, as a group, they've kind of decided that Mama is a bad pet when, they can't get petted very well when Mama's streaming. So, anyway, so if you've ever seen that one, um, Dom and Brian, I almost called him Paul. Um, Dom and Brian are being held off the ground with big chains, and I actually don't know what, by the wrists, I think it was. Um, I don't actually know what the chains were attached to. But anyway, um, they were talking back to the bad guys. That's what melting off means, talking back. Um, anyway, they were talking back to the bad guys. Um, why did we get on this subject? Oh, because because he fears that they're going to talk back to the enemy pirates and get killed. But he doesn't know Sean and Jesse very well. They're not going to let that start. They're not going to let that stand in their way. They're not going to get killed easily. But he just assumes that after they get uh after they start dating and get married, then they're gonna you know make babies and you know Hayden and Morgan are gonna have to help raise that baby after the father dies because he talked back to the bad guys. So he doesn't want any pirates dating his daughters, and he gives 2 or 3 lectures, and as soon as they get home from that summer, Sean's like, I can't take this anymore. Because he's feeling super guilty because he calls him Uncle Hayden, but technically they're not blood related at all whatsoever. It's just that they've grown up around him. Sean and Jesse were born on ship, and so it's an honorary thing. Like Dom calls um Dom calls Letty and Vince and um and eventually Roman and Tej and all of them his family, but they're not blood related. Dom's only blood related to Letty. So anyway, oh, and Paul, of course. I mean, I meant Brian. Um, keep I I am happy that I know his name. His real name. And I don't know if he did any like bad things. Um, like okay, so he played a part in the movie She's All That. He played a jerk, and and he played in the movie Joyride. He was being a jerk in that for a while there, and then all of a sudden he was running for his life. Not running, but driving. But anyway, um, you know, in the long run, I'm not gonna remember that about him. I'm gonna remember that there's a YouTube video, and I'm hoping it's for real, because with the internet, it could say anything and not be true. But I think this one was. It said that he happened to be in a jewelry store, and there was a soldier, I think, and his girlfriend won this really expensive ring. It was over $1,000, and the guy couldn't afford it, So Paul stepped in and he paid for the ring. I don't remember the rest of the story. I assume that the soldier uh, either had already asked her to marry him and they were just buying the ring, to set it in stone, or that, he proposed shortly after, but I don't remember. But I do remember that Paul stepped in and he paid for the ring. And I think, if I remember correctly, the soldier wanted to pay him back, but Paul's like, nope. So, even though I don't like some of the roles, I mean, some of the stuff that he did in the movie, I love the Fast and Furious movies. I love those. But, like, his role in She's All That, like, I want to go and smack Dean Sampson Jr. because Lainey is a good person. She needed to lighten up, but, she's a good person. But, he was just treating her like she's just another girl. Like, you know, love him and leave him kind of thing. And so I didn't like that. I mean, she gets back at him in the end, though. Not in the best way, but hopefully, the hearing loss went away after a time. Anyway, so, so, like I said, they're Sean and Ashley are getting to where, I mean, are starting to realize they like each other like that and they want to be together forever. But Sean realizes that Hayden giving lectures like that, Hayden's going to find out and he's going to try to put a stop to it. And Hayden has promised that whoever disagrees with his ruling that no pirate's going to date his daughters, he's promised that they are going to sword fight him. And he is really good. He's been practicing with Morgan longer than Sean and Ashley have been alive. So, and Morgan was practicing with her parents when they were all little. Um, Hayden and Morgan and Jake lived on the ship when they were younger. And I may have put William in there too, but I don't think I did. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and read that one. or at least put it in my in one of my programs that I can have it read the story to me. That would probably be the easiest because when I'm reading, I'm like, I want a video game, and then when I'm video gaming, I'm like, I want to hear the story. So, best of both worlds. Putting it into something like Speechalo, and then saving it into my computer and being able to listen to it in Media Player. Ugh. Okay, so since I went later than I meant to, my idea is to go until noon. Wow, we've been at this for 40 minutes? How'd that work out? Okay, so I literally got the stream going around 10:53 a.m. and it's 11:36 a.m. and it's saying that we've been on here for 40 minutes. Either I can't tell how how long that is, or something's wrong here. But at least I got the Wheel of Fortune done because last week it did not want to load. It didn't. Like, I went and did the whole entire second game and it didn't record it. It stopped recording somewhere in the middle and somehow I did not notice. So anyway, Sean gets scared off and he breaks up with Ashley. But all of a sudden, he's going out with these other girls. Karen is one of them. Karen, oh, what's her name? I cannot think of her name. Her name's not Tiffany. It's not Paulette either. Paulette is on Grease 2. I think it does start with a T, though. Well, we'll call her Penelope for now. I can't think of her name. That's one of my, like, most favoritist because, Ashley's decided that she likes Sean like that, and she's gonna fight to hold her on to her man. She's just gotta, convince him that she's worth fighting for. I almost had her name in my head, and then it bounced right back out again. Tracy, maybe. Okay, so we'll call her Tracy. Anyway, so he goes out with Karen, and when he comes back out of the movie theater with her, he's got flat tires. And then when it was Tracy, I think her name was, like, there was, oh, he dated a girl named Coral also. Not dated, just took her out on a date. She is the one that looks a lot like Ashley. Like you would probably think that they're non-identical twins. Kind of thing where, it's that close. I keep doing that. You cannot place the block that you want to place unless you switch to it. Anyway, she looks a lot like Ashley. So, at the end of that date, there was a note that was not signed in anything more than a blood red heart with an A in it. I think is her symbol. You would think I would remember, but so much has happened since the last time I read that one. But anyway, anyways, only signed that way. Or maybe it's not even signed at all. But it says that if Coral likes, it basically says if Coral likes living, she's going to stop dating you. It's a note to Sean. So, Coral gets scared off. She's like, heck no, I ain't talking to you anymore. And, uh, Tracy, yeah, I'm pretty much convinced that her name is Tracy. Anyway, so Tracy ended up having to go to the bathroom after class one day, and Ashley and Chantel go in there right after she did, and or they were in there already. One of those two. Oh, they were in there already, because I just remembered. Sean looks over and sees that uh, Tracy's going toward the bathroom, and he tells Jesse, and Jesse's like, so, and Sean reminds him Ashley and Chantel are in there, and he's like, oh. So I think it was I think Jesse or Sam Crenshaw, one of those two, volunteered to watch Ashley's stuff for him instead, and or maybe they just sat there. No, I think they just sat there that time. The other time, a boy was being very rough with Ashley and almost strangles her to death. That's when Jesse's fighting the guy, and Sean's doing CPR to keep her alive. And they finally get to the nurse's office, and the nurse is like, aggravatingly slow, checking out everything, very calm. It's not her girlfriend. I don't mean it that way. But it's not her girlfriend that's, turning blue and stuff. But yeah. So anyway, she says she should be taking, you should call somebody to come pick her up. She should go home and have bed rest for the rest of the day, but she should be fine after that. Well, no, it was more serious than that. She ended up, Sean took her home. Sean is a street racer. Yes, totally inspired by Fast and Furious movies, but Sean's a street racer. Um, Also the Japanese anime TV show Initial D from 2010. I just got into like a really big street racer phase with movies and TV shows. So I still love watching that kind of stuff. But specifically those two series. Anyway, so Sean's a street racer, and they don't street race very much in the books, but they do enough. One of the times Sean's gonna end up in jail, and uh, like Jeremy is the not the police chief, but the one right under that. He's still the one that like calls all the shots. I want to say he's like the Frank Reagan, but not really, because like the police chief is like the Frank Reagan, but the guy that bosses Danny around, Jeremy would be him. Jeremy, or however you say that name. We always said Jeremy when I was a kid. And it wasn't because, it wasn't because we were making fun of my cousin. It's just because, that's how everybody pronounced it. So, I almost wish that they would have named him something else. Because it does feel like I'm, like, making fun of his name, but that's not how, that's not the thing. It's just I'm saying it the way that I learned how to say it when I was a kid. Um, but anyway, he's the, whatever, the guy in charge. And, he explains why Sean's there, and William looks over at his son like, what? Yeah, right. I would have known if, that kind of stuff. And Sean goes, "You heard him?" in his sassy street racer voice. And William's just kind of looking at him like, "Who are you and what have you done with my kid?" Yeah. If I remember correctly. But anyway, so in the next book, which is called Lessons in Love. Because the way I wrote the book, she's trying to get him to understand that the being in love is just as important as the falling in love. And I got that concept from the movie Simply Irresistible, but I don't think I actually say those specific words. So it's not plagiarizing, it's just getting an idea off of something that I saw. I loved that idea. So she does some stuff, but I think I want to, I think I want to rewrite it to where you can't tell it's her at first or at all until you find out it's her. Because it would make for a better story. But I don't know how to write it that way. I'd have to have my sister help me out and kind of. Well, my sister and my husband. They're the ones that help me. They're the ones that help me figure out how to write stuff to where it sounds the way that I exactly want it. Like I want it to be more of a I want it to be more of a she shut the door and then, the ninja was in town. Or, headed toward town. But the thing is that it's her horse that they're heading toward town on. And so maybe I just keep it the way it's written. I came up with a really cool title for that one. I mean, a really cool cover for that one. I do apologize. I am using AI. I am not an artist. But I tried to give it very specific things to make so it wasn't going to be stealing other people's stuff. Because I've got very specific situations in my story, like the ninja going to town on Angel dressed all in black and beating up Sean's truck in some way or another. The only problem is, okay, so I was trying to make it to where I was totally trying to make it to where they were behind the movie theater. Notice what I said, behind. Maybe I should have just put behind a building. Anyway, I tried it and it was showing me behind, but it wasn't parked the way it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be parked to where the headlights are facing the building, and it kept doing it on the side. To where the driver's seat was against the wall instead of the headlights. So that was very frustrating. Or it would go and put it to where the headlights are toward me. I mean, toward the camera, so to speak. It was annoying. So I finally gave up and just decided, okay, what if we have a mysterious person on a black horse and their face is masked, and yeah. So I came up with a really awesome picture for that one. Um, yeah, so I was doing my book covers about 2 days ago, or maybe the day before yesterday. Anyway, I was doing it then, and I was getting frustrated because it's like uh you have a placed, just because you could, picture it worded different, of course, but a placeholder picture, that's what it was. You have a placeholder picture and you need to fix that, and it's like, okay, how am I going to fix this, and or what needs to be fixed? And it was like, oh, okay. I finally figured out what it was. The back covers all had this one picture on there that was from the uh the Amazon Kindle uh picture library, for book covers. And it's like, oh, okay. So I went and changed it to this other picture. I put um I think it's a picture of Morgan, or no, 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 no. I'm sorry. It was a picture of me. Not a picture of me, but it was a AI picture that is supposed to look like me dressed as a pirate. So if you see that on the back cover, then you'll know, you'll know that that's supposed to be me. If I was skinny and taller, I'm only 5 foot 1.5, so. Anyway, I'm only 5 foot 1.5, so I wanted to be 5 foot 5, mostly because Nancy Drew is 5 foot 5, and at the time, that was my favoriteest book in the whole entire world, besides Howl's Moving Castle. I don't remember if it says how tall Sophie is, but um, but yeah, I wanted to be 5 foot 5. It didn't work out that way. I'm what? Okay. If I want to be 5 foot 5, made it to 5 foot 1. So that'd be five. So that'd be 4 inches short, and then you take, okay, 3.5 inches short. I mean, too short for being 5 foot 5. I think seriously, I wouldn't have back problems if I had been a little bit taller. Because apparently I've got scoliosis, and that means, in my case, that my spine is totally straight until you get somewhere near the shoulder blades, I think um, my second mom said. And and it goes in a question mark shape. You know how like the bottom of the question mark's straight, but then it juts out toward the right and then comes back again and then it goes up. Have no idea why that happened. Have, you know, no way to fix it apparently because they didn't. But yeah, I've got a weird back. But anyway, okay. So the thing is that, Sean wants to date Ashley and Ashley wants to date Sean, but Sean breaks up with Ashley because Hayden keeps giving lectures and he's acting like he knows. And since he didn't actually ask if he could date Ashley, he just kind of, Hayden feels like Sean swooped in and took her away like a pirate in a movie. And hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to do something more interesting, or at least the next layer. Like some TNT work or something. So my son Squibs helped me get all except for that. Yeah, all except for that taken out. Then I don't know what happened. He got bored. He got internet lag, something. He just left. And it was quite sudden. It was really weird. But we weren't arguing or anything at the time, so I really don't understand. But anyway. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to at least put in the next layer and blast some more of that out. Or just take it out. Oh, I was pretty happy. I got some stuff done on... Okay, so I've got 2 files. I wasn't going to. It kind of feels cheatish. But, I really wasn't going to. Okay. Okay, so I probably will be streaming on Thursday the 5th. Yeah. Yeah, so I probably will be streaming on Thursday the 5th, but I will not be streaming on the 6th or the 7th. And possibly the 8th. So I think that have the calendar program open up on my phone because I can't figure out how to do it without using Outlook on the computer. Yeah, so the 6th is Friday, the 7th is Saturday. So we're supposed to be going up there on the 6th and then coming back on the 7th. So I might still be streaming on the 8th, but I don't know. I might just take the weekend off, It's okay. But if you miss me at all, I will have videos on YouTube. And oddly enough, the video for the 7th is titled The Bachelor 1969. The Bachelor was not a show in 1969 as far as I know, but that's what it's called. I actually did pretty dang good today. And when I came up with The Bachelor, I was like, yeah! I would have done a lot better to pick a B, a C, and an H. Because, they give you art for Wheel of Fortune. Um, I would have been better to pick a B, C, and an H because Bachelor, BACH. And then they give you RSTLNE, so I think I would have had everything but the vowels. But I didn't, so anyway, but I got it. Oh, anyway, so eventually, Sean starts having his male friends, which they usually call cousins because they live in the house together. They've been part of the family. Like again, like Dom and his family. Yeah. Um, they've been part of the family since they were born. So they're all cousins. But anyway, so he has them sit in vehicles in the parking lot, which is super boring, while he goes in and watches the movie with whatever girl he's out with at the time. But the truck still gets trashed. Um, and one time, she didn't even have anything to do with it, and the bumpers fell off. So, yeah. And the ninja always goes to town on Ashley's horse Angel. So, yeah, like I said, I'm probably going to keep it the way it is, but I really kind of wanted it to where you can't tell who is doing it until you find out. I don't know. Okay, so if anybody's watching this at any time, because right now it's just, cheap viewers on Streamboo. Oh, please. I will not buy viewers. I mean, it could be fun, but I'm not going to do it because it's actually a very bad thing because, like, I'm sure when you want to get monetized, they're going to ask you, did you buy any of these people? And I would like to be able to say, no, I got them legitimately. So I've been at this for a year or two. I think a year, because I think I started doing this part of it January 2024. Our friend Sidran, maybe saying that wrong, but he doesn't get upset at us when we say it that way. Um, he doesn't even really know how to say it, so. But anyway, he got the name from a friend. I think he said. Anyway, he told us how to, connect the Twitch with the YouTube. So you record over here on Twitch and then you post it to YouTube later, and it's been working perfectly. And I really like it. And that's why if like on a Saturday you see me get off the stream, stay on the channel cuz I will be doing Minecraft or something afterwards. Um Oh, I was about to say that. Yesterday on Dreamlight Valley, I got a whole bunch of stuff done, but I didn't get any of my story done. Well, I mean, I got like a sentence or two. So today I'm gonna get off. Oh, I'm gonna get off soon. And I'm gonna at least finish that chapter before I do anything else. And like I have to go and make sure I do a few things before this trip too. Like I have to do the litter boxes on Monday, so that's the day after tomorrow. I have to do the litter boxes on Monday. I have to um, bring down the garbage bag from the garbage can upstairs and replace the bag, of course. Um, I've got to do some of my laundry, so I've got a choice of what I want to wear. And that's the thing. I don't know whether to bring warm weather stuff or cold weather stuff. I know California is usually feeling like it's Africa hot in the summertime where I used to live in Suisun and Fairfield, California. But I don't know anything about where the graduation is. Uh, except for my sister said Sacramento was hot, so and the graduation's not in Sacramento, but it's close to it, so or okay, I should say on the map it looks like it's close to it. No, 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 no. Not that one. Again. There we go. So, if I can at least get that chapter done and I don't feel like doing it anymore, story for the day, I will. Ooh, I just thought of something. Okay, good. Because this is the last day of May. And I didn't know if I had fixed it. So, anyway, so I was saying something about I want to get a part-time job, and that's because I would like to be able to, like, say, use the first check to help out with bills, and then use the second check to put into savings so I can save up and get published with Dorn's Publishing, because they were really interested in my books, and my books only gotten better since then. So, they said that my book would end up in places like Walmart and Target where people are going to see them. But then I've also noticed that people that buy books don't necessarily buy them at Walmart and Target. Well, I don't know about Target, but Walmart. Um, I did see somebody buy some books at Target. I mean, at Walmart while I was working there, but not too many. Like if they're buying books, it was usually notebooks for school. So but because the thing is that Dorrance Publishing said that they would do the advertising. That's the problem I've got. I'm not very good at advertising, or like the people I'm advertising to are too poor to buy my books. Or they're the wrong age group. Because I would say in the range of 16 and up. My husband says in the range of 18 and up. So, anyways, 16 to 18 and up should be fine reading my books. It's not because of the, uh, it's not because of language or, because I try to write my books to where most people could read them and have no problem understanding every single word. I don't like it when I'm reading a book and it says feigned instead of pretended, and you have to go and, say, hey Siri or hey Alexa or whatever, because I'm not saying that last one. um, I don't like it when you have to go and look it up, you know, because you could look it up on your, home device, but you could also look it up in the dictionary. Oh my goodness. I just realized kids are not going to understand what a dictionary is. Hey, teachers, that could be an assignment. Specifically look up in the dictionary, and it's cheating if you look up on HG or Hey Alexa, Hey Siri, or whatever. Obviously, we've got HG. I've yelled at it several times on my stream because, it's like listening into private conversations or trying to answer questions that weren't aimed toward it. Well, I call it a her because it's got a female voice, but speaking of that, I changed the voice for Morgan because she's got an Irish accent. Only problem is that I don't have an Irish female voice to work with. So if anybody at Speech Hello is watching this stream or video at any time, please add Irish voices in English. I mean, I thought it would be really cool if you had voices and like you can make it speak Italian or make it speak like make it speak English in this part of the scene and make it speak Italian in the next one. But but I found out that they're all speaking English. You just can't understand what they're saying because they don't know how to say the word. It's like when I'm trying to speak French, you would have no idea what I am saying if I started speaking French because I cannot sound it out. Spanish, I can sound out a lot of the words. I'm not saying every single word, but a lot of them. But French, I am sorry, it just doesn't make sense to me. So unless I already know how to say it, I'm probably not going to be able to pronounce it. As seen in my one of the 2 Jeopardy videos I did today. So I do Wheel of Fortune and then I go straight into Jeopardy because when I was growing up, I am pretty dang sure it was Wheel of Fortune and then Jeopardy on the channel that my grandparents were watching it on. Now, my sister seems to think that it was Jeopardy and then Wheel of Fortune. But either way, they're a package deal. You kind of have to have them together. So instead of having either or like say the first Saturday have Wheel of Fortune, then second Saturday have Jeopardy, I decided to put them together. That's the only reason why that video is almost 53 minutes long. Anyway, I had a point and now I don't have it anymore. On one of my videos, I did some things. Oh, okay. So on one of my videos, there was a whole bunch of French stuff in the in one of the Jeopardy rounds, and I was having a hard time. I was going like Jacques, that last name, you know, that kind of stuff. So anyway, please go on Amazon and check out my books. They are Pirate's Daughter, Misfortune. Okay, Pirate's Daughter has. Let me see if I can find my pictures. No, not those. Oh, come on. I just had it open the other yesterday. There we go. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Pirate's Daughter, at one point, Morgan gets kidnapped by the captain. So, that cover has Morgan sleeping on the floor of her yacht. Well, it kind of looks like a pirate ship in the picture, but it's a yacht. Um, Sleeping on the floor of her yacht with a pirate looming over her. He's about to grab her and take her away with him. And then in Misfortune, I was trying so hard to come up with exactly what I wanted, but I got close enough. I did get a Scottish man in a kilt about to cross the street, but the limo is not exactly in the right spot, but it's close enough, you know. And one of the streetlights is on, and the wrong side is dark, but it's okay, you know. It's close enough. Um. Anyway, and then there's hard times. So so the thing with Hayden in the kilt is they had a costume party at Shatana's where Morgan works. We don't discuss Shatana's because it's not okay to discuss on stream. But anyway, they had a party there, and he spent a good deal of the night waiting. So they've got a bar at Shatana's. He, you know, went in there, started drinking. I want to say whiskey. Anyway, he drank something that the bartender didn't think that he was man enough to drink. You know, it's strong stuff, you know, something like that. And anyway, by the time he finally finds Morgan, who invited him to the party, by the time he finally finds Morgan, he's drunk. So, like, instead of going over there and saying hi, he ends up rushing to the bathroom. But then after that, they spend the whole night together, and when they go to close up for the night, he ends up having to walk home because he's supposed to be working the next morning. Don't see how that's going to happen, but yeah. Anyway, problem is, though, that he goes and walks out the front door, turns to his right, and he is super happy. He's high as a kite, you know, happy. And he ends up getting to the corner, and their apartment is on the left-hand side of the road. Um, I didn't write it like that at first because Claudia's apartment is like right behind Shatana's a couple of blocks, or the immediate. Okay, so there's behind Shatana's, and there's a road there, and then there's a building, and that's attached to Claudia's apartments. She doesn't own the apartments; she lives in them. And then there's a roadway, and there's no there's no like garages or anything. There's just, you park on the side of the road, so it's a little bit wider than normal, but no like actual lines to say where you're supposed to park your car. Anyway, so he decides that instead of crossing the street, because he sees that limo and it's dark, it could just be parked there, could have somebody in it, you never know. So he decides that instead of crossing the street at the corner toward the darkened corner, that he's going to go right again, and he'll cross over when he can cross over. But halfway down the street, he ends up seeing that there's men getting out of that limo, and they're definitely holding guns. So he starts running toward the other corner, but they make it to him halfway toward that other corner, and they throw him in the limo and they knock him out cold, and he starts to yell for help, but he only gets the first three letters out, and then as he's passing out, so yeah. Well, then in hard times, a whole bunch of things happen to William. It would be unfair to go and explain everything, because then you wouldn't want to read the book to find out what happens. But one of the things that happens is he ends up in the bar with his friends, and this girl walks in. And I believe that was the night that he hadn't had a very good night because of something. I think that was the one where he was like paraded around like Tom Cruise in Cocktail, which inspired that bullet. It inspired a party idea I had in my story, but I wrote it different. I didn't have him, at an art gallery and all that. I just had him at a party. I don't even remember what the party was for, but it wasn't important. It was just a party. But it was like one of those parties that you had on Crocodile Dundee, the first movie. Without the drugs. You just have several friends over. Maybe you know them, maybe you don't. Anyway, so anyway, they end up at the bar, and this girl walks in, and William decides that he likes the look of that girl. So he wants to get to know her better. Wait, so yeah, okay. So he wants to get to know her better. And he finds out that her car broke down by listening into her conversation that she's having on the phone with whoever she was talking to. Well, he turns to Mitch, one of his friends, because he's a mechanic, and he asks, how are you at fixing cars? And Mitch goes, I'm good. You're not gonna recruit me for to fix her car while you talk to her, are you? And Helene goes, yeah, I am. Or something like that. So, obviously read the book for, to find out the exact details. I wrote it, and I wrote it so long ago that I don't necessarily remember, and like the last time I listened to it was when I was still using Natural Reader, so yeah, it's been a while. Um, anyway, so the cover for that one is supposed to be them standing at the back of the car, just talking, chatting away. And it's got them standing, looking at each other, looking like they're having a great conversation. But it's not showing Mitch at all, but that's okay. And she's not glitched through the car like she has been so many times. That was a hard one to convince the AI to actually do. And then if I ever, okay, so I have to have my sister edit it because it's got a symbol in there that is not okay. Besides, it advertises a laptop company that I don't use because I personally think they're backwards. I'm used to the red X being in the corner. Or the X being in the corner. Um, but I said laptop and it just assumed Apple product. Anyway, it just assumed Apple product, so I'm gonna have to have my sister fix it before I publish that one. But the next book is Finding Love. It's not published yet, but I just wanted to mention it because I was pretty dang happy. Except for I think they're, oh no, they're in the barn. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so they're in the barn and they're either sharing a kiss or just about to, and there is a doorway open, and they are on the laptop, but they're sitting on what? I have no idea. They're supposed to be sitting on the floor, but it's okay. It's the perfect picture. It's cute. So Finding Love, the reason why it is Finding Love is because Jake and his mother Jane live in Australia. And that's because Jake had to go to school. Jane wants him to be a smart guy and, actually have something to fall back on in case being a pirate doesn't, doesn't make money. I mean, it did for her, but what if it doesn't for him? She wants him to have something to fall back on. Well, he's really good at computers. He's super good at computers. Well, eventually, his childhood sweetheart, Michelle, has to come live in Australia too. She lives down the street, which, I mean, it's more of a down the country road, like a mile or two. Um, Something like that. Like, okay, I don't know Australia very well at all. Like, I could tell you that's the Sydney Opera House if you showed me a picture of it, but you show me, like, where Alice Springs is, and I may or may not be able to tell you that's Alice Springs, kind of thing, So, anyway, I was like, I don't know where in Australia I want it to be, but I know I don't want it to be in the city. So I just picked a location. They're directly in the middle. Fictionally speaking, apparently the spot that I picked, it's pretty close to Alice Springs, uh but any town or city that I use in my books is used fictionally, is not used, like necessarily in a real way. Although, although for Tahoe, I have some generically but specific um, buildings when I have them do a street race around Lake Tahoe, which I do not recommend. There are too many spots where you could fall off the road and end up in the lake. But for a story that, I made up, it's okay. It's like the Fast and the Furious movies. They do all that stuff, but they are very safe when they make the movies. Um, like think about it. You heard that, we all heard that Jackie Chan somehow broke his foot while he was making, I think it was Rush Hour 2. He hit it against uh the ship or yacht, whatever that boat identifies as. um, you hear that he broke his foot. Well, I don't remember hearing, except for Paul Walker's thing, and that was not during the making of the movie. That was afterwards. Well, it must have been during words, because then his brother ended up playing some of his parts. I don't know, because I seem to remember them saying something about, I assume Cody had to go and play some of his parts in 7, but then I also remember them saying it was a party, like the movie was done shooting. Hmm. Now I'm confused. Anyway, whatever. So, anyway, Michelle has to come and live in Australia, and um Jake's stepbrother technically, but they've been best friends so long that they just call each other brother. Like Dom and Brian, or Paul and Vin Diesel. I got a question now that I thought of that. When he gets an award, does he get it under Vin Diesel, or does he get it under his real name? Or did he, actually go to the Hall of Records, whatever you call it, and get his name permanently changed to Vin Diesel, so he does get it as Vin Diesel? I'm I'm just wondering, because I would imagine that, or like Michael Keaton, because I think think it's Michael Keaton that was uh born with born with a totally famous last name. I mean, there was a guy that was already Michael, whatever his last name was, and so they changed it to Keaton. It's his stage name. So when you get awards from the movie people, when you get an Oscar, does it say your name, or does it say your stage name? And then if it says your stage name, do you get to be like, 60 years old and all of a sudden go, that doesn't say my name, you know? That'd be kind of interesting, to see if your fans could still find you, using internet searches and all that. If your fans could still find you if they only know your stage name. Although that still reminds me of that time when the news was saying that Madonna was getting stalked by one of her fans. He was like going right up to her house and everything. And she ended up getting a restraining order on that guy, I'm pretty sure. Don't remember if they said that they caught him or not. Think they did, but I don't remember. Maybe I didn't, maybe I didn't see that part. Anyway, kind of hoping that, he. Oh. Kind of hoping that he got help. Um, you know, you know, that he had somebody talk to him about, getting too close to your idols. Of course, I was just thinking about that. One of the episodes of Wonder Woman, yes, it was a TV show before it was a movie. Um, I'm just gonna go with what I said, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, had Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. And just for a fun fact, she played Stephanie Powers on. I can't think of the name of the movie now. Oh, Sky High. She was a principal, and she was a superhero. Um. Anyway, um, my it's called My Teen Idol is Missing, or My Teenage Idol is Missing, something like that. And I'm like thinking that in the Bible it says, have no idols other than me, or that's not the way it's worded, but close enough. Um, anyway, so I'm like, okay, when you're saying that's my teen idol, or my uh act acting idol or whatever, are you like saying, are you like, you know, yes, my con kind of thing, like on this the movie The Saint, or are you like just saying I really really like that actor or actress, singer, or whatever? It just doesn't seem like, know, in that situation, it doesn't seem like idol is quite the right word. Not the point here. Anyway, the other books that I have on Amazon right now are Esperanza's Party. So Esperanza's having a birthday party. There's a bunch of stuff that happens before that, but it ends up that Esperanza's having a birthday party. Um, and she owns the island, in South America that I'm hoping I made up. According to the map, I did, but there could be land out there. I don't know. Anyway, it's close to Buenos Aires because I had to have it. Um, I had to have a destination for Scott to go to, and that's where I decided it was close to Buenos Aires. Because before that, I was going, like my husband's going, where is it? That's what you need to figure out. Where exactly is this island? And I'm going, I don't know. I was probably in tears at one point with that one. And, writing stories isn't as easy as it looks on the TV show Murder She Wrote. On Murder She Wrote, she just goes and, writes it and it's all good. Although sometimes she's like she made a like a scarecrow kind of thing without the hay. She used stuffing or something like that. Anyway, she's got this dummy, I guess you would call it, and she was trying to figure out, okay, do we want to kill the victim with a bayonet? She's writing the book. Do we want to kill the victim with the bayonet, or do we want to strangle him? And she decided to go with one over the other because it was a cleaner kill. I've seen that episode how many freaking times, and I can't remember exactly what she decided. Because it's a side note to what else was happening in the story at the time. Of course, I kind of want, I want to figure out what the heck happened to the one guy in the story, because he's there in the first season, but then he kind of just disappears. Anyway, so she's having a party and they decide to go to it, and Ashley and Chantel see the opportunity that presented itself that they can dress up just so and impress the guys. They're both going to dress like they're 16 years old, even though Chantel is 13 and Ashley's only 15. But they're going to dress like they're 16 so they can impress the guys and get their man. But before that, um, like at at the very beginning of the story, there's a I can't think of his name. Oh, Johnny. I don't know why. Probably Dirty Dancing, but I just decided his name was Johnny. So he walks up to Ashley and he says, "You're going out with me tonight, right?" She goes, "No," and looks over at Sean like, she's got a date with him. And so he goes and shoves her up against the locker, and, "You're going out with me tonight, right?" And she agrees just to get away from him. So then she goes into the bathroom and, does what she needs to do, of course, and, comes back out and doesn't bother to tell her friends what happened. So that's another fun thing, with that. Um, but I want people to, start buying my books so they can find out what happens in these scenarios. Um, I'm trying not to tell too much without telling too little, and I think I'm telling too little because I'm because hardly anybody's going on there and checking out my books. Um, anyway, so then the next one is the island. And okay, so Sean and Jesse are bored. They decide to put on a knife show, and the girls attend in the same kind of outfit that they were wearing on Esperanza's island. And so they're juggling knives, and all of a sudden, both boys are very impressed with what they're wearing. Um, but they're juggling the knives a little bit later, and all of a sudden the ship comes to a I don't want to say a roaring stop, but a quick stop, and they find out it's beached on a sandbar. And that idea I got from a Nancy Drew book. Oh, what was it? Okay, I haven't read that. It's book number 5. They're in Fort Lauderdale, I want to say. And Nancy is trying to get away from the bad guys. And somebody gets beached on a sandbar. It's a spot where there was a whole bunch of little sandbars. Well, this one's a big one. Big enough to stop the ship. Well, the boys look out at the island and they're going, ooh, uncharted territory. I want to go explore. So they get permission to explore. They get told to take all their weapons and, take all their weapons with them just in case. Because Morgan thinks that island looks familiar, but she's not entirely sure. And the last time she saw it, she was half starved, a little delirious, and she was on the enemy ship. She was half starved, a little bit delirious, and then all of a sudden these women were on the ship, but she doesn't remember much more than that. And she's got a photographic memory, so yeah. So everybody's a little bit worried that it is that island that she's describing. You know what? Might as well just finish the thing. I don't know. It's going to take a while, though. I want to work on my book. And I want to get breakfast. Now that it's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, I'm not finishing that today. Okay, I might finish it off camera. And then I'll show you, look, I finally finished it, Anyway, so they get permission to go explore. And there's, it's an island of many trees. That's how I've described it. It's an island of many trees. So basically, it's got a forest on it. But they're more spaced out than a regular forest, because like forest usually has like tree, you go a few steps and tree, and you go a few steps and a tree, something like that. But this one is, the trees are a little more spaced out. So so there's these really big trees, kind of like the redwoods in the redwood forest, but not redwoods, because that's not the kind of tree that I remember seeing. It's the kind that can get the moss on it. I don't know what kind of tree that is, but anyway, they're going through the forest and they keep finding these really big trees, like 6 foot wide around. I mean, 6 foot from left to right if they were a Minecraft square, and really big. So, Jesse, yeah, Jesse. That just sounded really foreign to my mouth for a second there. Um, Jesse keeps going on the left, and Sean goes on the right. And every time Sean comes out on the other side, but Jesse does not. And then Sean goes back, kind of panicked, thinking that the inhabitants of the island grabbed him. But Jesse jumps out and says, "Boo!" And so that happens for at least 6 trees. And then they come upon another tree. Well, Jesse goes on the left, Sean goes on the right, and then Jesse reminds himself he wasn't going to do that this time. So he starts going back the other way. Well, Sean comes on the other side. Jesse does not. Sean goes back the way he came. He's still no Jesse. And then Sean makes that fatal mistake and takes one more step and gets caught in a trap where he's held upside down 3 feet in the air. And still no Jesse. So you're going to have to read the book to find out what happens. Does Jesse live? Does Jesse die? We don't know. And then there's going to be, the one after that, Lessons in Love, where Sean breaks up with Ashley, but Ashley tries to teach him that the being in love is just as important as the falling in love. And that he can stand up to her father and say, "I want Ashley, and I'm going to take her whether you like it or not." Which is kind of funny because in one of my books, I decided that when Sean was 12, they were taken by enemy pirates. And William tried to negotiate them getting released. It was at least him and Sean on the enemy ship. William tried to negotiate them getting released, but the only thing that they wanted was Sean, because William had stabbed the captain. Oh, I suddenly remember now. I couldn't remember this the other day. William had stabbed the captain, and he was thrown in the brig, I want to say. But Sean stayed and patched up the captain, so the captain got to live. So the only thing that they wanted was Sean. They signed in blood, and the idea was that when Sean was 18, he would become part of the crew of the Scorpion. And of course, Sean doesn't want to do that. He was hoping that William would come up with a loophole, something to get him out of it, but no such luck. So Ashley was pregnant with Lily. Yeah, Ashley's pregnant with Lily in that one, and they decide to stay home because she's going to give birth any day now. So Paige stayed with her. That's one of the doctors. You may have heard me mention Alan. He's the ship's doctor. Paige is his first daughter with his first wife. And the reason why he has a first wife and a second wife is because she needed an appendix operation or, some kind of operation. And he almost killed her because he was drunk while he was doing it. And I got that off of a movie, but I can't remember what. Or a TV show. Anyway, either way, I'm not sure what. But it was an inspiration. It wasn't dead on or anything. And if it is dead on, that would be very interesting because I've never seen that thing. I just saw the commercial for it. So, yeah. I think it had a Baldwin brother in it, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has a Baldwin brother in it. Because, like, they were, in the commercial, they were, like, in the courtroom, and he was looking all smug, like, I'm gonna get out of this. But I don't remember anything besides that. But anyway, it inspired me to come up with this story idea I came up with. And so she wakes up, or so in that one, she woke up, and she started stabbing the heck out of him right around his heart, but left him alive. Anyway, so then later he goes and meets Kelly in the place where Morgan worked, and they fell in love eventually and lived happily ever after, kind of thing. But anyway, so Paige stays with her, and William and Kat stay. Yeah, William and Kat stay, but William got a summer cold. So, so it's Sean and Ashley, and William and Kat, and Paige, and Jonah and Daisy. Sean and Ashley's two oldest. Jonah has a different mother. Jonah, let's just put it as Jonah was made from a kiss in Esperanza's party. Or not Esperanza's party, the island. Sorry. The island. And Ashley wasn't too happy about it at first, but then she actually met Jonah. Because they get sent Jonah when he's a 6-month-old baby. Some month old. And, anyway, he's a little baby. And anyway, so he's a year older than Daisy, and then Daisy is a year older than Lily, and then they're gonna have Rose the next time they have a kid, but that's not important to this story. So it ends up that they're out sunbathing, and all of a sudden this pirate ship comes into view, and they find out that it's the Scorpion. So they all go in, so the ladies are told to go inside, and they start playing cards at the captain's dining room table. Which, oddly enough, I would, I was kind of thinking that the captain's table ought to be as close to the kitchen as possible so their meal is the warmest. But I put them on the other side of the dining room. The large dining room. Very large. See, that's the other problem I have in my stories, you're supposed to be able to see the stairs that go up from the one part of the dining room. And it doesn't work very well in Minecraft because it's supposed to be a wide staircase. Like 8 Minecraft blocks wide. And, it goes up and up, up to the second floor. And it doesn't exactly work. But anyway, so they're sitting at that table. And then eventually, Ashley decides that she wants to get up and see what's going on. And she sees the whole thing. Sean is given a magic potion. Well, what they called a magic potion. But, it knocked him out. He passed out. And I want to say that they knocked William out, but it was only because, like he's one of those guys that you punch him and he's still standing there glaring at you. Like on some of the Fast and Furious movies. But I actually got that from, I think I got that from some other stuff. Like Mel Gibson movies and Die Hard movies and like every action movie I've ever seen. Just about. Um Probably not Tom Cruise movies though. Cuz usually if he gets punched, he kind of falls back and he's not still standing there. But anyway, um so like I said, William is like in the middle of the living room floor or something like that, passed out cold. And I don't know why they call it out cold, because you're not like cold just because you're asleep. Unless you're passed out in the snow or something, then you would be cold. But anyway, so somebody ends up having to go get a wheelchair and they wrestle him into it. But Sean got taken away by the enemy ship. Well, while he's there, he's got that, bad crowd influence around him. They're not the nicest pirates in the world. Like, they'd probably kill you rather than talk to you, kind of thing. And so when they end up having to come back because of their captain's appendix needed to be fixed, and Sean cannot fix that. He needed to be he needed surgery. When that happens, he's a little more enemy pirate than he should be. Just, slightly. But then he goes and takes Ashley into his room, into their room, locks the door and everything. Makes sure that Jonah and Daisy's room are locked because, they're still little, so they can be in the same room for now. And, he explains, it's still me, it's just I'm playing a part because, they're going to think I'm weak if I don't, kind of thing. Well, he gives Ashley the kiss that he wanted to give her. He said it in a tough guy way that, to the enemy pirates, but, he just gives her the normal kiss that he would have given her anyway. And then they have to go away again. Uh, well, it was like after a week or something like that. They had to go away again. But anyway, so it ends up that they come back later and he's more enemy pirate than he was. And then they come back again another time and he's more enemy pirate. She's already had the baby, by like the second time. And, uh, given birth to Lily. And he's more enemy pirate the last time. Well, they end up taking Ashley with them, and Ashley sent the others to the ship. Well, just in case they go and take Hayden's parents and his youngest sister, that's exactly Ashley's age. They go and take them with them to go catch up to the ship in New York. And so Ashley's kidnapped and she gets away in Australia. But you're going to have to read the book when it finally gets published somewhere to find out what happens. But that will be eventually because that one's not ready for being published yet. I think that's one of the ones that needs to be a little longer because my goal was 300 pages. So if it's not 300 pages, then that's not okay. Okay. So I'm going to answer my text real quick and yeah. Can't read that. Disneyland should have a 101 Dalmatians attraction where you literally just sit in a room surrounded by 101 Dalmatian puppies. And tell her, won't work. They'll get sick. Actually, it might work. Because you hardly ever see them. I know one person saw one last week or possibly this week. Anyway, recently. There are I don't know what you call a big old group of cats, but because I want to say herd or a gaggle or something like that, but I don't think that's the word or a group. I don't know. Anyway, there's a big old group of cats that live at Disneyland to keep the rats in check because it's a big old land. And rats like going anywhere they want. So there's a bunch of cats that live there. And they are well taken care of, apparently. Just like the horses at Disneyland. Except for that, it's a tradition to have an actual horse riding, um, pulling the vehicles on Main Street. Except for that, it's traditional to have an actual horse. They could maybe put in a, like kind of an animatronic horse that does the same kind of stuff tooth with the technology of Toothless from um Isle of Berk at Epic Universe. You know, to where it almost looks like it's real. I mean, it didn't to me, but I didn't see it in person, so I saw it on a video. Well, anyway. So, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, please like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell. If you are watching me on... Hi again! Okay, so I am saying officially hi to Salt Girl 12 because she keeps coming on my stream and then um I never noticed that she's there and then yeah. So I am giving her a shout out saying hi because I usually catch it too late. Um Anyway, so if you're watching me on YouTube right now, please like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell. And if you're watching me on Twitch right now, which it doesn't look like anybody is, or maybe it's Salt Girl that is watching. Anyway, follow, and when you're on, please chat. I would love it if we could get a whole bunch of people to chat like everybody else's streams. I mean, they're more established. I mean, they haven't necessarily been doing this as long as I have, but they're more established because they're more interesting or something. I don't know. It can't be it can't be that the game that they're playing is more interesting because they're playing the same game I am. They're just getting more viewers. I don't get it. Anyway, and I hope you're having a great day. Know that you are enough. You are important. You do matter. There's nothing you cannot solve or handle, even work in school. And I'm always here to chat. I'm not always paying attention, but I try. I really do try. I've been looking over and there was nobody, and there was nobody, and there was nobody, and then all of a sudden Salt Girl was there. So I don't know how that happened. I've been looking over and missed her again. But she's been on my streams for like at least the last 3 days and missed her every single time. And I'm just saying her because it says Salt Girl. Yeah. So, anyway. Oh, and I thought it was very interesting that. Okay, so I fixed my banners. I put a different picture on there because I thought it looked really cool. It's a picture of my ship, my pirate ship. Um, well, what it could look like. Okay, so it's a pirate ship, but it's got it looks a little too small to be my ship. It's what I'm saying. But it's got the mast and it's got a pirate flag from it, and it is a black sail with a purple eerie purple skull. It's a black flag with a eerie purple skull. Because that's how I had Alan explain it to the person that he was talking to. I don't remember who that person was. Could have been an enemy pirate. Could have been one of the Coast Guard members. I don't remember. Um, if I remember, I will let you know when I find out. But yeah, it might have been one of the Coast Guard members. So anyway, um, Oh, I started to say this earlier. Okay, last thing before I end the stream. Um, I got a whole bunch of stuff done on Dreamlight Valley on my second character. I wasn't gonna do that, but then it's like, okay, sometimes I don't do the best. Like, I'll do something and I wasn't recording at the time, so then it's helpful to go and have that second character to record that same footage, to where you can actually see it. Although, since Natalie, that's why I named my second. My first account is Pirate Author, and my second account is Natalie. It's actually my husband's backup GTA character because sometimes he plays with, uh, you know, younger people or not as skilled people. So he calls her Barbie. So anyway, in GTA, Barbie is a less able player. She doesn't have everything. His Darth character does. He's got like everything. Everything that you're allowed to get, I think. Um, but Barbie does not. So that's why he's got a second character there. But um I was like, hey, can I use Natalie to do this? Because there were some things that I had not recorded. And I don't know if I posted everything that Natalie has done on Dreamlight Valley, but everything that I've been doing lately, I haven't recorded a dang bit because I already recorded it with Pirate. So just in case there's something that I haven't done, that I haven't recorded on the Pirate file, I'll be able to record it with Natalie. But I had to get her up to the same level as Natalie, but that's not really fair because I keep forgetting to do the dream snaps with Natalie. Right now, I need to remember to go on there later and do the uh, event with Pirate. It's a button event, and apparently the popcorn buckets that you made before don't count, and you have to do them all over again. And I did not know this, so I'm gonna have to go fishing for a bunch of blue buttons, and I've already got all the red ones I need, I think. Not the red ones, purple ones. I think I've got all the ones I need for that, but I don't have enough blue ones to make all of the buckets. So I thought that was kind of annoying because I did read that um, on IGN, I think, that if you made them last year, they don't count this year. So you have to go and do them all over again. And then there's these other buckets. There's the ones that we made last year, and then there's the handheld ones. And I don't understand it because there's no way to make any of those. And they gave us the Doug one as a um they gave us the Doug one in our mailbox because something was wrong with it or something. Something was wrong with the quest to do it. Oh, that's what it was. It was the Mirabelle thing, and if you don't play as often as you need to, because you've got to go to work, eat, sleep, hang out with your family, you weren't going to get that popcorn bucket, and it wasn't fair. So, they try to make everything fair on that game. And And it's really nice when they make things fair. So I didn't have to worry about making the Doug popcorn bucket. It's really cute because I've got him looking like he's a puppy dog on the floor, uh, waiting to get petted. But it's a popcorn bucket. Okay, so I may or may not stay on here and try to finish this before next Monday or, tomorrow when I feel like playing this. You'll probably notice I've been doing three different videos. I've been doing whatever video, I mean, on some days, I've been doing three different videos, whatever the day is. So, like on Thursday, doing the GTA thing, and then doing Dreamlight Valley, and then doing Minecraft. That's because I like to try to stream between 8 and 11. It used to be 8 and noon, but that's like taking up too much of my time. So 8 and 11. 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. So that's 3 hours to stream, and that's all I give it. Most days. Or if it's a Wheel of Fortune Jeopardy day, I will go for the 1 hour, and then if I feel like playing Minecraft, I will fill in the time, but I may just stop right there. Uh, because I play what I want to play and when I want to play, so sometimes it ends up that I'm like, I didn't really feel like playing Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy that day, but I did, so. But anyway, um, so like on Wednesdays, I'll do Dreamlight Valley and Minecraft. Or like on Sundays, it'll end up maybe being Disneyland Adventures, Dreamlight Valley, and and Minecraft, depending on how long it takes. But yeah, so I switched Disneyland Adventures to Sundays because updates and stuff come out on Wednesdays on Dreamlight Valley, so it was inconvenient to have it on Sunday. I couldn't stream until then, and everybody else is streaming, the new update on Wednesday. So I'm like, yeah, we'll just make it on Wednesday. I'm gonna be playing it anyway. Why not? So that worked out, and I found out that I know where I found out how to find my auto shop on um, GTA. I do things that I can do on my own on Thursdays unless my husband's home. So like this coming Thursday, maybe we'll have a more interesting video slash stream because he'll be home. I'm hoping so. Usually he gets on with the guys and it's like, it's all done. It's like he totally ignores me, and then he wonders why I don't want to give him kisses. Anyway. So I will see you in the next stream or video after I'm done putting in this line right here. Hopefully, next time I stream Minecraft, this will be filled in. Because all I want to do is go and, you know, fill fill in the lights, fill in the floor, fill in the lights, fill in the floor, fill in the light, yeah, all the way up, and then we can go and do things out there in the world. Oh, hold on. One more thing. Wait, yeah. You're probably wondering why. It's because I can't blow it up. It's not there. It's there and it's not there. Well, anyway, I'm hungry. And as soon as I get rid of this, I promise I will end the stream. Probably wondering why that is so far down. There wasn't enough room to do it exactly the way I wanted it. And I just didn't feel like going back and rebuilding the whole entire mansion and everything for like 2 spaces. So I was like, I'll just fill it in like this. Needed a solid foundation anyway. Okay. I will see you in the next stream or video.